This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Today in the arena, we are playing in the Edge Festival. Edge something or other. Something about an edge. On the Edge Festival event. If you watch this the day after I record it, which will be Sunday, it will still be live for a few hours. Many of you might see this when it's no longer live, but I found it interesting, and as far as a bonus video, I haven't done many of these weekend-only festivals or events, but this one hit me because I think sometimes we all need a standard break, and maybe you'll enjoy this one. So I'm going to go over 4 decks that I think can be made up in the format, and you can pick the one you like, and we'll have gameplays of the ones that are the most CGB. So we're going to start out with the deck that I think is 100% the easiest deck to play. Oh, you might wonder, what is the Edge Festival? The Edge Festival consists of only cards from M21, Battle for Zendikar, and Kaldheim. So no Ikoria, no Theros, and no Eldraine, the sets that are going to rotate in the near future, except for, with the exception of M21. So it's interesting to see what a world without Eldraine and Theros and Ikoria is like. No more companions, no more adventures, those cards that seem to create endless value and dictate everything about the format again and again. One of the first decks that ports really easily is Mono White, which loses Alseid of Life's Bounty but keeps most of the rest of the good cards from that deck. So the Halvar, the Legion Angel with the copies in the sideboard. I expect this to be the default aggro deck that a lot of people will play. I'm not going to play it. I'm showing it to you as kind of a preview for how I made the card choices about the rest of the decks that I am going to play, because I expect this to be one of the best decks in the format for aggressive strategies. Mono Red just ain't there. Gruul Adventures got absolutely gutted. All the adventures are gone. So something like this is probably the best aggro deck if you wanted to play that, unless there's something I haven't found yet. Before we move on into the other decks, because I have to jump through multiple screens, today's video is dedicated to David Fisher on Patreon, who signed up for the $99 above tier, which comes with a video dedication and a cosmetic in your honor. So I'm going to continue my march of buying sweet cosmetics from the snow-covered lands that are secretly available. And in this case, we're going to grab the other snow-covered island. So this one is in your honor, David. Thank you very much for supporting the channel on Patreon. So with Mono White in mind, the next deck I want to talk about is what I'm calling, I name them all Edge this, because they're for the Edge event, but this is Edge Rogues, and Rogues loses a lot. Losing Drown in the Loch and Into the Story is a big deal. It could still play Rune Crab, but I don't think that's particularly exciting. It is an okay way to tune up some of these rogues and get them to that 8-card threshold, but that threshold isn't as powerful without Into the Story, quite frankly. And if you draw cards using something besides Into the Story, you'll get there eventually by finding more rogues. So this version is built around Zareth San, and Zareth San is a pretty sweet card, and with the support of Windrobber and Thieves, Guild Enforcer, and Thought-Thief, you're in a pretty good spot. I decided not to run Nighthawk Scavenger. I think it dies to Eliminate and Binding the Old Gods. It's kind of in a bad spot for both of those cards. So those are 2 of the important removal spells for the format. Now, these cards also can die to those cards, but they're flashy or they're small and can sacrifice to replace themselves, so they're a little better. Lofty Denial also factored in. I wanted to play Windrobber, even though it's not particularly powerful in this shell, because I want Lofty Denial, because I need something like Drown in the Loch as a 2-mana counterspell. Eliminate, we no longer have Heartless Act in this format, but Eliminate is probably going to be a popular removal spell. Saw It Coming, and Behold the Multiverse, our Foretell tag team, and then we have Crippling Fear, which we saw work in other rogue shells. So I'm not sure if rogues will still be good. It definitely plays as a different deck, and I want to play with it and really see how it does in the new meta. So testing rogues is one of the priorities today. Another one is my control deck of choice, Edge Dimir. Blue-white doesn't look nearly as exciting in a world of Selfless Savior and Reidane, and Dimir looks better. Eliminate and Grasp of Darkness and Bloodchief's Thirst feel like very good cards against Reidane, and Shadow's Verdict feels like a very good sweeper against most of what the white decks are doing, although there are some weak spots, like if they play a Vorinclex or an Elder Gargaroth, we have to either counter it or we have to hit it with Bloodchief's Thirst. Maze Mind Tome is now a card advantage mega spell, and this deck also has Gravenlore and Behold the Multiverse to draw tons of cards. One of the hardest things to find in this format are win cons. So we have 2 Ugins, which can also clean up enchantments and artifacts, and we have a Crawling Barrens and 4 Faceless Haven in our Snow mana base, which is Snow for Gravenlore. So I'm enjoying this deck. It's been pretty strong, and I'm looking forward to showing off a game or two with it. And then the deck I'm enjoying the most that I do recommend is a deck that has actual big win cons. So finding good resilient win cons in this format is really hard. I showed you that the Dimir control deck has Faceless Haven, right? And it has Crawling Barrens. Those die to Eliminate, which I expect to be super popular. So not that great. It has Ugin the Spirit Dragon. That dies to Binding the Old Gods, and Ugin also dies to Bloodchief's Thirst. So that's not great. So without a very reliable, like, hex-proof Dream Trawler-like threat or way to finish the game, I turned to Coma. And the thing is, you play Coma, and the first one usually gets dealt with somehow. They find a way. Maybe they have their own Ugin, maybe they eliminate the token and Bloodchief's Thirst the Coma, or, you know, Poison the Cup is something that happens on end step. You know, things have happened, right? People have found the way. So this deck runs 4 because I find that while many people can get out from under the first Coma, the second Coma absolutely buries them. And as soon as you get one turn with Coma, a full turn cycle where it comes back to you, and you play Allrun's Epiphany, that game is over. So this ramp deck runs 2 Ugins, 4 Comas, 4 Allrun's Epiphany, and 2 Seagate Restoration as the ramp targets. The ramp sources, we have 2 Tangled Florahedron and 2 Cultivate and Binding. And then the removal, we have Shadow's Verdict, Binding, Eliminate, Ugin, and Maze Mind Tome to tie the room together. The deck's been surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, it's just the biggest, strongest deck in the format, and when nobody's preparing to beat it, the Comas just take over the game. So it's the one I'd recommend the most if you have to choose one to play this weekend. You don't need 4 Coma, but it helps to have 4 Coma. You might need another way to soften the opponent up if you're going to Coma. Maybe Elder Gargaroth, but I haven't liked that card as much because it dies to Bloodchief's Thirst and Binding the Old Gods. So those are the decks that I'm looking at. We're going to play a number of them for you in the video, so I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for, of course, watching. I hope you enjoy the alternative content. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me making videos around the festivals and things like that. And let's dive in. Let the nonsense begin. Pay to play. Let's get it. Choose our deck. We're going to start out with this Sultai deck. Tomes and Tangleds. Not a lot of ramp. Guess it's all about the tome to find the answers, but we do have an Eliminate. I wonder if I'm playing Tangled on 1, Tome on 2. On the draw without ramping. What are our prospects like? Let's see what our opponent does. Darkboard Pathway. Well, they're probably going to remove it. If they have to remove it, am I happy? Not really, because I could be developing my cards because my hand isn't great. So let's play the Tangled on tapped mode. Snow-covered forest. We draw a swamp. All right, Tome. Help me find the right things. I need help. The Priest of the Haunted Edge. Looks like some kind of a snow control. That's not much of a threat to us. Would love a Cultivate. Do not need another land. Fabled Passage. Blue. So what do you think? Do we push double tome? Yeah, next turn we might draw 2 cards with them. This turn we get double scry to try to keep from flooding out. We're definitely on our way to a flood. But our opponents put us under no pressure, so we've got a little bit of time. Ramp spells in particular are awkward here because on one hand I want to keep something like a Cultivate. On the other, it's just more land. Alright, the snow control continues. There's a Sculptor of Winter, and there's a Foretold card. That is a keep. Let's save the other one. I don't think I'll need the life, but I might need the cards. Gonna grab... Let's see, you get a forest with the binding, so I'll grab an island here to possibly cast Seagate Restoration. We'll bind the Sculptor. That will ramp us. Now we need a big payoff. Seagate is pretty good. Oh, we got bind on bind, or we got bind on tome. It's a tough choice. Bind on bind. I don't know. It keeps me from ramping, but I think the tomes are significantly better threats. Let's see what we can scry away here. It's a card, but it's not exactly the ramp payoff we're looking for. It does sort of ramp us into 7 though, so I guess foretelling this next turn is a decent turn. I'm curious what their top end is. I'm picturing things like Blood on the Snow, but I'm curious what else they use to actually win. One of the hardest things I had with this format was finding good top ends that could just win, which is why I eventually just settled on Coma them. And then when they deal with the Coma them again. All right, that can get the Snow Critter back from the graveyard. It's not the worst. It's not a tremendous threat though either. Like, do we bother eliminating that? I don't think so. I think we just draw. This can just kill Coma. This can be got. They can get back the priest again and again, so that's a bit of a headache. But it does have to be used as a sorcery, so Coma can tap the priest down. Another Epiphany. Let's take another turn. Do we have the last blue? Actually, we don't. Somewhere in there I played it wrong and I don't have another blue. We can bind the staff. That's pretty good. Birds. Think we draw here? I have to remember I'm not playing Ultimatum anymore. Getting triple green doesn't matter, so this pathway definitely should have been on blue. That's where my mistake was. Somebody's like, just run the world tree. Don't worry about that. I can do better. I can have learning moments. Target. Are they going to target my binding again? I just don't get it. I don't think there's a reason to without Yorion in the format, you know? Doesn't make sense to me. Sculptor wants to rumble. I guess targeting the binding did allow me to misplay, but no, it only gets forests. Never mind. I would only have more green. There's Coma. Oh man, I think we can eliminate the priest on end step so that we don't have to tap it and we can save it for something else. Yep, so we can do this. Blue, and for good measure, you know, show I messed up. We can hold this to draw extra with the restoration. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to Coma or Restoration next turn. They could play counter spells, so let's see what their mana is like on end step. And their board position. They have this Foretold. It's probably an Epiphany. Grim Draugr. Menace. Is that your win con? Another Priest. Well, that makes the Eliminate worse, doesn't it? And the Coma. Makes the Coma worse, too. But they've only got one card left, and wasn't it Foretold? Or is it Hand? It's not Hand, it's Foretold. Okay. Let's stock up with Seagate Restoration. We'll probably find a Shadow's Verdict to finish these off. And then we don't have to worry about them. As opposed to playing Coma and having something bad happen. Passage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Saw it coming. Check 1, 2. Did not succeed. All right, there is the Shadow's Verdict. All right, we're long game mega favor. Do we want to block with these birds or attack with them? We'll just say go. We could have also set up another Epiphany, but let's keep Eliminate open. Our creatures gain Death Touch. But maybe they'll do something to try to pave the way through the birds. Is this open-ended? It is. So they can pump the hell out of the Draugr. It is kind of a win con. Oh yeah, give it that menace. Let's block it. See if it makes the opponent act. If they're touching Haunted Edge, maybe they think that they were able to sacrifice it in response. They're not. It is sorcery speed. Learned that one the hard way. But you usually only have to learn that lesson once. It's weird finishing my tome when I'm on high life, because it's like, isn't there something over here I can pay 3 mana for, then cast to get me a whole bunch of new cards? And the answer is no. No, that doesn't exist anymore. Trying to see if I can do some sequence of epiphanies, but nope, let's set off the verdict. Be done with these little dorks. Strip them down to nothing. Let Coma destroy them. Not what I meant to do. I guess we can play a Tangled Florahedron. See if they do anything about this. Since we have nothing else to really do with our mana but eliminate things that aren't there. It's looking bad, though. It's looking bad for the opponent. This definitely is not a Saw It Coming, so what is it? Another Binding. Yeah, they've managed to cast all the bindings. Binding the binding of the binding is the future of Standard. Grab some black. Kuma! Let's get this going. How you doing? How are you? Can you answer the first Coma? Poison the cup. Yep. Yes, you can. which is fine, but part of the reason I built the deck the way I did is so that you can just go Coma on Coma with Coma, adding in some Coma. 2 to the top. All right, they're not going to want to crack that Fable Passage. Don't do it. Oh, wait, they have to... Okay. Can't help you. I just can't help you if that's the way it is. No forests left in the deck. Okay. Oh, they found their win con. Be gone, win con. Don't really like a win con that trades with Eliminate. I think it's going to be the best removal spell in this format. At least for a while. And again. Yep, the second Coma is what gets him. Wow, look at that fresh emote and this bear. I'm not applying it. No. No, I refuse. All right, so that's the Coma ramp pile. Let's have a look at the Dimir control pile. Quick edit though. Wrong sleeves. I know that these are my default and they are amazing, gorgeous Azorius sleeves, but I like to switch it up. Dimir, it's not really Kaya's thing, but I like the new ones. I like to use newest sleeves because God knows I will get tired of them. Also, the cover has a card that I'm not even playing, so let's let you run the show. These pretty lands. Can control function? Let's go find out. With the removal spells that we have available, how do they line up in the format? Does Ugin get the job done? How many artifacts and enchantments are there? And do they make Dimir miserable? These are all kind of questions I have. Never mind, I queued up the same deck. Lucky you guys. More Coma content. We could scoop and go on to the next one, but what can I say? I like this hand. And I don't get tired of Coma-ing people, really. So. Oh, they said blue to me. I thought for a second they emoted at me. What do you guys think? Do we want to play this on 2? Yeah, I think we do. Don't have anything else to do on turn 2. If I had an all-runs epiphany, I'd probably just play this tapped, but I don't. Because I could foretell that, then cultivate, then Shadow's Verdict, then all-runs epiphany, then Coma, then Ugin. All right. People like their snow decks. I also like snow. I get the appeal of trying to get some kind of extra value out of a tribal type that lands impermanence can both be, and it leads you into a place where you can't usually play tribal decks in control, but you can play a tribal like payoff in snow with a control deck, so it's exciting to try. Unfortunately, the cards aren't very good, so it's kind of a rip. But let's see how this deck does. Is this snow deck able to handle us? Do we have enough green? Green, green, green. Yeah, we do. So let's grab the non-green sources because binding can get the forests. Guess we don't need Tangled. Don't know if we're going to need Verdict either. Let's see what happens. Hand definitely needs something like a Maze Mind Tome. If the opponent just starts gaining a bunch of value on us, things could get tough. Okay, I'm getting rid of that crap. Play something else. Play another small creature for me. What do you think? Is this Saw It Coming? Let's find out. Too bad. We could Coma next turn, but I think those augurs are a problem. Rope comes out. Didn't even try to hit their top card. I don't know what that means. Thieving Skydiver. Top deck a land. Feels bad. Remind me to play green next turn. Our lands are lopsided. But maybe this kind of hides that we have Coma coming, and maybe they don't prepare, and maybe that makes a difference. That's enough land, though. Play Cultivate, draw non-stop lands off the top. That is definitely Magic the Gathering. You gonna counter that? Probably not. Rope comes out. All right. Coil located. Yeah, your saw it coming didn't take that into account, did it? All right, we do play some black. Let's see if the black can get the job done. What is a good card for this? Poison the Cup, we saw kill a Coma, but now that's indestructible. Elder Gargaroth. I mean, that's one of the bigger creatures of the format, without question. And one that I thought about playing, and if there isn't good spot removal, then it looks really good. But now our opponent can't stop the Ugin, so... I guess first we attack, right? Let's do this first. All right, tap target permanent. Remember, when we play the Ugin, we're going to exile our serpents. So let's go ahead. Well, I guess we could go for more damage and pressure, which is probably better. I can hope that my opponent would mess up, but that's probably not it. So let's spend a serpent here and attack with these. The other thing I was going to do is tap the land, but we can do that after we attack with these two, now that the Gargaroth is tapped. I don't know what they could have for 1 blue. A Miscast, though, is a card I've been playing. So, if we want to clear the phase, so that during the next main phase we can play Ugin, and we can tap this blue if we actually think they might have something, which I don't think they do, by the way. I don't think it's actually possible. But I just want to show you guys this, because it could come up someday. We're still in combat, and damage has been dealt. There's a stage at the end of combat most people don't usually see. So, at the end of that, by putting the stop here, we're going to tap this land, and now they won't have this mana in the mana pool during their main phase, because even if they tapped it for mana, it would clear right there. And if they could somehow deal with the Ugin, like if they had negate and 1 more land, now they can't. Tag team assemble. Okay. Let's not do this. That is strong. Definitely makes Ugin a little worse. As you see, we only get 1 loyalty. The flood is real, but now we've got all the basic lands out of the deck. Let's go ahead and cast this Tangled Florahedron. Let's go ahead and play. You know what? Let's hold these. We might draw Seagate Restoration. Attack you. Now we'll see if the opponent has some kind of a Planeswalker to follow up with. Because double loyalty on an Ugin is pretty good. I had Vorinclex in this deck for a while because it did look like it might be a hard card to kill in the format. But they've got a Spirit, just a big old bear. Get themselves a land. This is where drawing Alrund's Epiphany would definitely lock the game. We're favored, but man, a Time Walk with a Coma and an Ugin out is so nasty. We're just gonna tap down this Vorinclex when they try to go to combat. Opponent thinking about pointing something. What do you got? Better be good. Okay. Okay. All right. Tap, tap, attack for 6, shoot face. Of course we drew. This game is just proof that all you need is a Coma and an Ugin, because what have we drawn otherwise? We had a Shadow's Verdict that kept the snow permanence in check, and then after that we just nothing but Coma and Ugin the rest of the game. My greatest creation. We picked up this Doom Scourgy thingamajig. Let's try that Dimir deck I was talking about and go to work. We're fighting a Jedi. No. No. I guess with Grasp in hand, do we fetch black here? I don't know. Let's see what the opponent plays first. Oh, this is mono white. They play mono white. God, those look cool. Awkward timing. See if they play the Luminarch Aspirant. Next turn we can play the Tome and set up the blue mana for later, which is risky. They might get ahead of us. You got a pump or something? I'm just gonna kill it. The cards made too many angels in my day. Against control, it's so devastating. Foretell in white. Interesting. So the Tome plays into a Skyclave Apparition, but this doesn't. So I'm going to foretell Behold the Multiverse. Let's see if they can put some pressure on the board. Angel spells. Okay. Angel deck. Let's chill. Do you also splash black? Do you play the sagas, or is this just mono white? Interesting. Starnheim Unleashed then? Maybe a Glorious Protector. $18. Whoa, Flying Lifelink at the beginning of each end step. If you gain 4 life, create a token. We could counter that. We could also tap out to Bloodchief's Thirst. The idea that we tap out though to Bloodchief's Thirst and then the opponent plays just anything else and we're left with a handful of counters is terrifying. So I didn't see it coming. That's a lie, but there you go. We'll play the Tome. try to get it cooking. At least here we have the mana to draw a card if they Skyclave Apparition. Although now that they're an Angel deck, I think every white deck is going to play that card, but an Angel deck might not. If there's a deck that doesn't touch it, it might be the card because it doesn't say Angel in it on its type line somewhere. Revitalize, game 3, draw. Go for it. $16. Righteous Valkyrie. Alright, we're looking for a Shadow's Verdict. We would love a Shadow's Verdict. So first things first, play this. A few more counters. I don't think so. I think we need to fix the board now. Wow. Okay. Top of the deck, the Shuffler is fine. The Shuffler is fine. I would like to use Bloodchief's Thirst on something that isn't a 3 mana or less, because I'm sure we'll find a Verdict eventually. So I'm going to try to hold this Thirst. We'll see if that turns out to be foolish. If the opponent attacks, I'm going to block with this Haven. Okay, let's see. We have Negate to back it up. Got him? Maybe? Faith's Fetters. I guess we have to counter that because of the life gain clause, right? Worth noting, if we add 1 less mana, this with Summoning Sickness doesn't tap for mana. So we wouldn't be able to do the negate or also the tome thing in that case. Let's see, we're on 3 cards, but 2 of them are lands. I'm actually going to hold my tome for a minute and try to draw off of it. There's a Verdict. More snow mana. Let's apply reverse pressure to try to keep the life total low so we don't have to respond to this Valkyrie right away. It gives us more time to draw more cards. Makes the opponent play more creatures for the Verdict. So they go up to 21. Hit for 2, down to 12. Draw. Graven Lore. Ooh, love it. Do we Verdict now? We would have 3 mana open, but we could also spend another turn on Graven Lore, and they're at 21, so I think I'm okay. Patience, patience, patience. It's how I get that watch time. It's how I dominate YouTube in watch time. I play slow decks, where the right play often isn't to snap off the removal spell. The Airy. I think we can let that resolve and let Ugin take care of this someday. What did they do last time? They Fates Fettered. I'm going in. I'm doing it. Did you learn your lesson? 0 lessons were learned that day. Let's see, do you have something for this? Legion's Judgment. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater at sorcery speed. There's one I didn't expect to see today. We don't get the max scries that I wanted because of activating the Haven. I still think it's worth it. Haven has fallen. Crawling Barrens is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But with not enough snow, so we have to play this. Again, we can Shadow's Verdict, and I don't feel like I need to be in a rush. Alright, 17. Trying to get my opponent to play that pesky Starnheim Unleashed that I think they're sitting on. Because now that we don't have negate, that's what we want to cast the verdict on. So Starnheim for 2 angels gets them to 25. Not enough to pump the Valkyrie. Yeah, they're looking at that. That's traditional cancel mana right there. Counter target spell. They're thinking about it. But they're going for it. Ugin. That's pretty good. So I could Ugin them. I can also verdict them. Let's go with the verdict. Ugin can come down and plus right away, and that's pretty good too. And then we ultimate sooner, which is mostly about getting that concession. Bane Slayer can be thirsted. Draw. Draw. Thirsty, thirsty. Pick up some more of those sweet snow-covered swamps. More tomes. We'll get there, guys. The win con will be deployed eventually. Let's draw 1,000,000 cards first. It's more fun that way. Reidane is not bad. Still something we can remove easily enough. If I'm not attacking with those, I may as well make sure I tap them for mana. Let's have a turn of Foretell Appreciation. Keeping that maximum hand size problem in check. Oh yeah. Death knell is sounding. All right. Dun 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 dun. WinCon Online. Witness the power of this fully operational battle station. Three life. Make a critter, draw a card. By the way, if you're wondering why I don't turn over the tomes and gain the 4 life, it's because in case they draw Skyclave Apparition, I want the tomes to be as high as possible so I can just use the one that is fully used up in response. It's a minor point. It's not a big deal. It really isn't, but some of you are wondering. I can hear you. I can hear you caring across the internet. I've answered your questions, or tried to preemptively answer your questions in video form for many years now. Stop, CGP, stop. It's already dead. I can't stop. It's the way I'm made. I'm a disgusting individual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feels good. Get that land on the field. See if there's any more basics in the deck with 13 left. Yep. And set one of these aside. Haven it up. Gotta hand it to him. Not a quitter. Not a quitter. Oh man. We got to do such things. They got to do none. It's so mad. You sure sad. The eliminates are here. They're making me finish the job. Do we have enough to do it? Swift response. Negate. Darn it. Can't finish them this turn. Wait, can we? Hold on. Oh, just enough. Perfect. Complete with using the Faceless Haven for mana. What a combo. What's better, Quelling Barons or Faceless Haven? Why not both? Pretty card style. Alright. So, we've explored that side of things. Both the Dimir deck and the Sultai deck seem pretty good. Now, we can also explore rogues, and we can also explore white. I don't think that blue-white is going to be great. I don't think the Boros combo is particularly exciting, but it's probably good. The white deck we know is pretty good because it's almost exactly the white deck, minus only a couple of cards. So let's try this rogues deck, which we can edit, probably change up some sleeves really quick. Let's give it a little work. Ashiok, you wanna direct the rogue game? You wanna be the commander? There we go. And Zareth, you can run the show. And I have no idea if this deck is actually good. It's probably going to play a little similar to rogues and also at the same time be quite different. So let's find out. How is crippling future rogues? How is rogues in a world without Into the Story and Drown in the Lock? Does it still win the games? Yeah, probably can't mull this. Seems a little too good. I wonder if I shock in for black, though. Nah. Oh, they want to get crabby. Okay, here's what we do. We play this tapped. Then next turn we play Thieves Guild and Robber, and then Thief can follow up there. This can be another tap land. We also don't have to play Thief if we just want to hold up Saw It Coming. Snow-covered island and regular island. You disgust me. Okay. That's one way to do it. But perhaps seeing the Enforcer, they suspected another rogue and made that play anyway? Maybe. Well, they're going to try to mill us and we have Awakening, so that could get exciting. Should have learned a lesson here last turn. Oops, that was bad. That was supposed to be blue. That was supposed to be blue. Recovery time. So this gets us up to 8 so that we can attack through the crab. Since damage has to be our clock. Opponent probably has Into the Royal and they're thinking about it. Interesting. Well, now they know they can block here. But we could put a stop down and make them think that we have another Enforcer. Maybe they won't be brave enough. Yeah, they saw through it. I definitely messed that turn up. Not playing this on blue was a huge punt. Catastrophic. Let's see if it costs us or if we're able to get through this. Now remember, they don't have Into the Story, which is a big loss for the mill deck. Possibly bigger than it is for the rogue deck, because the mill deck has to win by mill. And rogues doesn't. Like, rogues can attack you. 39 cards. Like, Opt is just a one-shot with tutelage. They need something stronger, which is why I thought they'd run Snow-Covered Islands, Graven Lore, but apparently not. Okay. Do not look at the graveyard until after the Zareth lights up. Very important. All right. Anything we want? Not really. We can get an island, but I don't think it's worth it. Let's wait. Setup saw it coming. The trickle effects of only having one blue. They could go through this whole game. No, my islands. Scry 2 and draw? Okay. As long as we keep them from drawing multiple cards, you know? I'm not sure what they're running to do it. Maybe keep another tutelage away. I think we can outpace them. Just don't panic. Okay. Man, they are feeling the nickels and dimes here. I know many of you at home want to see the rogue deck get milled. I understand. Resolves, no counter, no interaction. Another Zareth. We can flash Zareth in on end step, so let's continue to look for whatever the big play is that draws them a bunch of cards. We still haven't seen it. Without it, I don't think they'll beat us. If they just play a land, if they mill for 5 for a few more turns, that's fine. If we're attacking them for this much damage, they'll lose. Even if they counter the first Zareth. Teferi's Ageless Insight, that's it. Found the thing. Can we force them to block? If we get another Thought-Thief, that's 8. It's not enough. What can we get from them? We can get Teferi's Ageless Insight, which is funny, but that mills us faster. We can get an island, which honestly is probably it. It's probably it. I didn't think it would come to this, but here we are. Well, guys, you think they can mill 20? Let's find out. They run Windrobbers. They have Hengegate Pathway. Curious what their white card is. All right, from this spot, mill 20. Let's see it. Are there more crabs in their deck? I only see the one. They find Teferi. Okay. That's a big game. That gets a few mills. Game. All right, so they hit another 3, then they hit another 2, and we still have like 10 cards left in our deck. You will not see the rogue player get milled today. And we are back for the post-game wraps, and I really like this format. I would play it for a week if I could. I'm a little sad that it ends so quickly, because I think that the thing I want to bring home the most about this format is I'm optimistic about the future. I think that Wizards knows that they took it too far with Eldraine. How could they not? But I think that there's always a conspiracy theory, right? That they did this on purpose. This is the new way to do Magic the Gathering that sells more packs. Just print broken stuff and ban them. And they're going to keep doing it because that's how they make money. I hope that's not true. And I'd like to think that it's not true. And when I look at this format and play this format, I start to believe that could be possible. I think that they really do want to make a game that isn't just about printing broken planeswalkers, broken mechanics like adventure, broken things like companions with and without tax that just warp every game of Magic and kind of make it feel samey very quickly. And when I play this format, I start to believe that's possible. Because in this format, like, every card matters. Cards aren't free. We got so used to every adventure card having 2 cards so that we just never run out of stuff to do. Every single companion is just a freebie in the deck. It's just always lurking as the backup plan when you run out of stuff to do. And here, in this format, you can run out of stuff to do if you're not mindful of your cards, mindful of, like, the closest thing to that now are the DFCs, the lands that are also creatures, right? Do you play them as a land or do you play them as a spell? I said creature, I mean spell. Those are pretty close, but it's different because it's still just one card. You get one effect or the other, not both. And this format feels like Magic did before War of the Spark, when every resource mattered and you had to fight for those resources, and you had to really think about what removal spell to use on what, instead of just, I'm going to be dead in a few turns because Embercleave is going to hit me. You know, the overpowered side of Eldraine, the mythic artifacts. So I'm optimistic. I think that the future is bright and that there are interesting decks to play, and I think this festival highlights that. And especially with M21 also rotating, the Rogues deck is going to lose Thieves Guild Enforcer, which is huge. Every deck loses Ugin, which is huge. And it does become very interesting. Like, what are the end games like? What are the early game threats like? I'm curious. So I hope you'll check out Festival if you haven't. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video, and you stayed till the end. You're cool.